Hey everybody out there, it's time to duel. And today for you guys, we're going to be profiling a deck that I thoroughly enjoy playing with, and I feel like it's a very good deck. And that is Relinquished Thousand Eyes deck. You can call this Thousand Eyes deck or the Relinquished deck, whatever you want to. This specific build is my Relinquished Kaiju deck. Now, there's a bunch of different variations you can run of this deck, and I feel like this deck is actually pretty dang good. Like, you could definitely take it to locals and do fairly well with it. You could, if you didn't care about topping at your regionals, getting your invite, you could take this deck, definitely probably win a couple of games. But this deck has one Achilles heel, and that's because it's a ritual deck and a fusion deck to boot. It loses to one card, which everybody that plays in the meta should know what this card is. Dimensional Barrier. This card is the Achilles heel of the deck, and there's really nothing you can do about it. This deck, I would say, if this card did not exist, this deck would be fairly good. But this card hurts the deck very much, so that's why it can't be played in the competitive meta. But for fun, against your buddies at locals, this deck is really good. So, without further ado, let us get into the deck profile. So first off, we run our 3 Relinquish in the deck. This guy sucks up your monsters that you give to your opponent, and you beat them down with it. As I've always referred to this deck, and you may look at me and grin and just laugh and just shake your head, whatever you have, I call this the sucky, sucky, fucky, fucky deck. And I just got demonetized for that right there, right? So yes, the sucky, sucky, and then you give him the poundy, poundy. That's what this deck does, because this is a Relinquished Kaiju deck. So you give your opponent the Kaiju, you special summon out your own Kaiju, you suck up their own Kaiju, and then you punch them in the face with the Kaiju. That's how this deck works. Now, some people may ask, and I'll get into this quickly, why I do not run the Incantations in the deck. And the reason I do not run the Incantations in the deck is because they don't really mesh or function well with the deck. Most ritual decks out there, I would say 90% of ritual decks, you would probably run the Incantations. In this build, you don't need to. You really don't. You'd be like, well, they help the deck out. Well, yeah, they do, but is it really going to help for a level 1 ritual monster that you like? Like, you can, but it's an engine that's conflicting with the Kaiju engine, and then you got... I tried it out. It was a mess. I'll just say that. So I found that it was simplistic just to keep it with, your regular ritual support without the Incantations. You can try it out. Maybe you want to go with Relinquish and then have Megazaborg and mill out your opponent's extra deck. It's up to you. But personally, from the way I've built the deck and I've play tested it, the Incantations did not work for me. But we do run the 3 Relinquish in the deck. We run 3 Millennium Eyes Restrict. This card is so good. You get to absorb monsters on your opponent's turn. It reoccurs to your hand when you bring out a Relinquish or a Thousand Eyes. Such a good card. I really, really like this card, especially when you bring out the Millennium Eyes Restrict. It's so good. So definitely you run 3 Millennium Eyes Illusionist. Then we run our 3 Manju of 10,000 hands, as I like saying it, 10,000 hands. This guy searches out, as you guys should know, for rituals, your ritual monster, your ritual spell, what have you. This searches out all your ritual needs. We do run some rank 4s in the deck in case the situation arises where you have multiple Manju on board. You can just exceed summon. You still have that problem happening from time to time, but we still run our 3 Manju in the deck, hands down. Now we're getting to the Kaiju engine. 3 Kaiju, the Sea Turtle, 3 Gamma Seal. Then we also run 3 Doggeron. Yes, I have finally hollowed out this deck for my Kaijus because this deck is the one deck I really use a lot of Kaijus in. And we also run Gerondagra, which I'll put over here. Now, you may be asking yourself, hey, there's a whole bunch of other Kaijus that have 33,000 attack, 3,000, more attack than these ones you have here. Why are you not running those? Why are you not running the Sticky Skiing Kaiju? It has lower attack than Gamma Seal and things of that nature. You may be asking me that right now. There's a reason why. Look at all these levels. What are they? 8, 8, and one level 8 over here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. level 8 monsters. The reason I chose these is because sometimes, if you guys have played with a Kaiju engine before, they can get very bricky. So it's good to run a trade-in engine if you're going to use them as an engine. I like using the level 8s because I can use them for trade-in fodder if they get too bricky. That's why I chose these. The reason I chose the one Garandagra over here is because he's just another big, beefy boy. So the way I look at it is, either one of these can get over Gamer Seal. This can get over this. So this is your top dog, your middle dog, your low dog. The sea turtle you're always going to give to your opponent. So you special summon a Kaiju to your opponent's field, you bring out your Kaiju, make your ritual monster suck theirs up, and then you go, you know, pound in their face, and then you do a bunch of damage. So that's how this works. You go to Pound Town after you give your opponents your monsters, and then you suck them up, and then you pound them. Shh! Don't talk about the innuendos in this video. You can all shake your head. But continuing on, we do one level other 8 monster, which I definitely love in the deck, and it works out very well. And that is Grinder Golem. Now, Grinder Golem has a couple of implications. The main one is you can help go for Wee Witch. So what you do is, with Grinder Golem, he's a level 8, so if he's dead in your hand, you can trade him in. So you use trade in, pitch him, and just draw 2 cards straight up. But what you like to do with him with Grinder Golem is you go Grinder Golem, give Grinder Golem to your opponent. Okay, so this is your opponent over here. You get your 2 tokens on the field. So let me just grab 2 tokens. We get my field centers. Grab my tokens over here. Get your 2 tokens. Okay, then you'll go for Wee Witch. Now you can either use the tokens if you want. You can go for Wee Witch, and usually you're gonna have there's different ways you can go for Relinquish, or maybe you're going for Thousand Eyes, Millennium Eyes, or Thousand Eyes to suck this up and do something with it. It's up to you. But what you'll do is you'll be able to go for Wee Witch, and I sometimes do this because it's a way of reoccurring back your Relinquish from your graveyard besides using pre-preparation of rights. Prep of rights, so you can actually add back a Relinquish, add back a Thousand Eye, you know, something that you need that's a dark from your graveyard. So you can go into Wee Witch here, or you can just do different combo plays or link plays with the tokens. It's up to you how you want to go about it, but it works out very well because you can use this as a link climber as well, because you'll be using the 2 tokens actually. So it's up to you. But I definitely love the Grinder Golem in the deck ever since I put it in. So definitely run Grinder Golem in the deck. He's another level 8, works well with the deck. The last monster we want is one Illusion Faceless Mage. This is the card that some people like, some people don't like. Some people run 3 of, some people run 2 of, some people run 1 of, some people run none of. I've seen multiple versions of this card and ratio-wise. I like it as a 1 of. It's a card that you can send to your graveyard through Foolish Burial, which is one of the reasons I run Foolish in the deck, is because I can send this, and I can also send my Millennium Eyes Restrict to graveyard, which is kind of nice to set it up. So it's another target for that, and also it can do a whole bunch of different things for you. It can reborn your Relinquishes, your Thousand Eyes. It's just a nice little card to have, but I don't like it more than a 1 of in the deck because it does take some setup. Next we run 3 Black Illusion Ritual. Your Ritual summon to bring out your Relinquish. Simple as that. You run 3 of it. 3 Relinquish Fusion. Oops, sorry. Cards got mixed up. 3 Relinquish Fusion. You run this to help bring out your Millennium Eyes Restrict most of the time, which is your boss fusion monster of the extra deck. This card's really, really, really good. You guys may have seen this as a tech for things to stop like Ash and the hand traps when your opponent's going off, and then they'll go into Link Karibo and then go on their plays. But yeah, this guy is really, really, really good, especially in this deck. But that's what you use the fusion to go for him. Sometimes you can go for Thousand Eyes, but mainly I'm going for Millennium Eyes Restrict. So we got that. We also got our pre-preparation of rights. You use this adds, as you guys know, the original names, so you get to add your Black Eyes Illusionist and your Relinquish from your deck to your hand. Great card. You always run it in a ritual deck that can run it. Great card. 3 of. 2 pre-prep. It does take a little bit of setup. I only like it as a 2 of. It is at 3 of. I only like 2. You could run it at 3 of if you preferred, but personally I like it at 2 of. It works well for me. Next we got the trade-ins, because like I talked to you earlier about the Kaiju engine. So we run 3 trade-in in the deck. Works well with the deck. It's a draw engine for the deck along with the Kaijus. If you draw too many Kaijus, works beautifully. 2 instant fusion. This is for a bunch of different things. Depending upon your situation, you can go for Millennium Eyes Restrict. You can go for Thousand Eyes Restrict. Suck something up. Go for Link Karibo. Have some protection for your Thousand Eyes. It works very well. Or if you're feeling in the mood, because you can do it, you can also go for Invoke Raijin. Just because, flip him face down, protect him. Then you flip him back up, and then he doesn't die from Instant Fusion's effect because he was face down. So there's a bunch of different things you can use with Instant Fusion in the deck, but you definitely need to run it. Some people like it as a 3 of in the deck, and you can run 3 if you feel that way, but personally I've found that 2 of works for me. You can also use the monsters you bring out for Instant Fusion along with your other monsters to go for some small little Link 2s and Link 3 plays, like going for Unicorn and things of that nature. But yeah. Next we run 3 Call by the Grave. You gotta run 3 in the deck. The reason for that is because Ash, Drill and Lock can really hurt some of your plays. Like if they hit some of your draw engine and search engine of this deck, it really hurts. So you want Call by the Grave to be able to protect you against hand traps, which can really put a dampering on your parade. So I would highly suggest, if you play this deck, run 3 Call by the Grave. If you want to find room to run Ash, go right ahead. But running against hand traps with this deck is not a fun day. And so you definitely want to have 3 Call by the Grave for protection. For your last 1 of spells we run 1 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It's your Dark Hole Searcher, very good card. 1 Monster Reborn, amazing card in the deck. And 1 Foolish Burial, which I was talking about earlier. You're going to have 2 targets for Foolish Burial, which are your Illusionist Faceless Mage, as well as your Millennium Eyes Illusionist, which you can... This is pretty much like a 4th of this card and a 2 of this card. So, there you go. Because you can send this to the graveyard, go for your ritual summon, add this to your hand. Or your fusion summon, up to you. But yep, that's all for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck now and talk about that a little bit. We got a Leucemy. We got our 3 Millennium Eyes Restrict. Like I was saying earlier, very, very good card. You got to run this as a... oops, my bad. I covered her face up. You run 3 of this for sure. I also run 2,000 Eyes just in the off chance that I want to suck something up twice and then go for Link Karibo or go for a Link play. We also run the Invoke Raijin, like I was saying earlier, as well. For your Link monsters, 1 Link Karibo, definitely a staple in this deck, hands down, along with 1 Wee Witch Apprentice Magician. Personally, if you wanted to know what monsters that were in the extra deck that were necessary, I would say all you really needed were these monsters right here. These are the monsters in the extra deck that I go for the most. Everything else is extra, just in case situations come up. You get the deal. But the cards I go in the extra deck the most are these cards right here. So the next things I go for, just in case: Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn, Boar Sword. If you need to really go for Boar Sword, you can run Boar Load, whatever. Then I run some rank 4s like I mentioned earlier, just in case you have double Manju on the field. 39 Utopia and Exciton Knight, just if it happens. I had a situation come up when I was playtesting online. Drew into Monster Reborn, normal summoned a Manju I already had in my hand, searched, special summoned another Manju, went for Exciton Knight, blew up the field, and was able to continue on with my day. Made a comeback. So yeah, you run Exciton Knight just because sometimes the situation does arise. So that is the deck in a nutshell. Not a very in-depth deck profile. I didn't want to go too much into it because it's pretty straightforward with this deck. You want to go for your ritual and your fusion plays in the deck, and you want to be able to pretty much give your opponents big monsters, suck them up, the Kaijus, or if they make their own big monsters, hey, that's cool. You can suck them up. Or you can, if they make a board, you can kaiju that board, and then you can suck their monster up with your monster, and then you can do your own little things. This deck does have one downside, which does suck. It is very, very reactive. This deck is good at breaking boards. I will admit that. It's very good at breaking boards, but it is a reactive deck. So what I mean by that is if your opponent's just setting and passing or normal summoning, not going off with their plays and being very passive, the deck is, you're going to be like, well, you know, like, this is not really my situation. Like, I've had people, like, stall out till they get all their combo plays and then go off, which sucks. But what you can do is, I've had to sometimes, if my opponent just has a normal summon, I've summoned a kaiju to their field, and then even though they only had one normal summonable monster or a face down monster on the field, just because I needed to get my plays going for the deck. So the deck is very passive. I wouldn't say it's as passive as Psy-Frames, but if you've played Psy-Frames at any minute of the point, it's a little passive like that, but not. It does have plays. It does go off. It's not as passive as Psy-Frames, but it's somewhere in that same ballpark maybe, but very much less so. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed the deck profile. If you did, please leave a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Love this deck to death. Definitely try it out, and I'll see you all next time. Take care, everybody.